Welcome back to Collecting Cars. Now today I'm going to take you for a quick look around this recently consigned Jaguar XK150. Launched in 1957, the XK150 was the final iteration of the original Jaguar XK concept and was said to offer notably more refined driving experience than its XK120 and XK140 predecessors. The car was offered in both drop-head and fixed-head coupe versions, and initially with a 3.4 litre engine. A 3.8 litre version was introduced in 1959, which was available in both a standard and an enhanced S state of tune. During the 5 years of production from 1957 to 1961, Jaguar made 2,265 XK150 Roadsters, 2,672 convertibles and 445 hardtop coupes. The one we have here today is a 3.4 fixed-head coupe. The XK150, the third and final iteration of the original XKs. There was the 20, the 40 and now the 50. This is a magnificent fixed-head coupe, and they had three styles essentially. You had fixed-head coupe, drop-head coupe and roadster. Not to be confused those two, because roadster really meant that it was a pure open top. The drop-head coupe was a more substantial, integral convertible car. Now after the XK120 and the XK140, there are a few subtle upgrades which distinguish these cars. Some of the earlier cars, had a split screen, so that's immediately a difference that you note. And then just the size of the thing, it actually feels much more masculine, much more sort of beefed up. There was definitely a daintiness to the earlier cars, and that might be because we see a lot of the XK120s in the roadster form, which have these sort of sweeping lower lines. I'll come back to the front of the car in a second, but just to show you that the lines on this run all the way down the side, so the fenders continue down, whereas on the roadsters and certainly on the early XK120s, the contours and the lines of the car sort of swept down. There's a much lower door line. This line runs all the way down to the back fender of the car, so it does give it a much sort of more substantial, broader stance. Right, back to the front where we started. Look at it, fabulous. So obviously we've got this wonderful iconic Jaguar grille and the red badging. Now when you see the red Jaguar badge on a car, it means one of the sort of sportier editions, and of course this is where that started, with a big 3.4 lump sat underneath this XK150. Then we've got these lovely leather bonnet straps and the big cat just sitting there sort of prancing over the top. This particular car has got the grills over the headlights, nice touch there, particularly if you're going racing. And we've got this massive chrome bumper with the overriders and the spot fog lights either side there. So coming down the side of the car then, wire wheels as you'd expect from a car of this period, but then the technology was then sort of uprated on these later models, and you've got disc brakes all round on all four wheels, which was quite revolutionary at the time, I suppose. And you'd certainly be thankful for it when you take it out on the roads nowadays. Now above those lovely wire wheels, we've got the wing mirror placed right on top of the front fender here. Normally you might see them sort of back on the door panel here or just in front of the windshield, but this is all the way down the front of the car, which does give pretty good visibility actually. The smooth curves of the fixed head coupe sort of continue with this lovely curved wraparound glass at the edges, which are finished off with this lovely chrome, and then again sweeps round to the back of the car. The boot then sleekly sweeps away. As we get around the back of the car, a few things to have a look at. Again, we've got these massive chrome bumpers with the overriders again. We've got these lovely twin tail lights, and then this commemorative Jaguar XK150 badge showing the winners of Le Mans in 51, 53, 55, 56 and 57. Nice touch that. The car actually has three keys that come with it. You have one that starts the engine, you have one for the fuel filler cap here, and then another one to open the boot, which I have here. So we'll just sort of open that up. There we are, and you've got a really decent size touring boot there, so plenty of kit to chuck in there to go away for a weekend, or even your golf clubs if you play, but a proper tourer. Okay, let's have a look underneath the hood, because this is what you came for after all. So I've taken the bonnet straps off earlier and then slide this open. It's actually quite large and pretty weighty to that. So from here, just pop this up. Is that going to sit in there? There we are. And here we are. We reveal the magnificent 3.4 litre straight six engine. And this, in this form, is about, as I said, 190, 200 brake horsepower, depending if you've done any tuning to the engine. The S actually had quite a hike in power output and had triple SU carburetors. You can see on this standard 3.4 you've got the twin carburetors here, so they managed to get another one in there and increase the power output of the overall car. Made it pretty nippy. One of the things that I really love when you open up the bonnet of these old cars is the sort of typeface on various different parts of the engine. Around this side we've got the Lucas current voltage regulator, and then just over here, the engine cap there, we've got this lovely typeface, the Jaguar imprinted there. Oh, that's actually hot to touch there. The straight six 3.4 litre in standard form produces 190 brake horsepower. The 3.4 S would take that figure up to a whopping 250 brake horsepower and had triple SU carburetors. Right, let's pop this down and we'll take a look on the inside. So before I jump in, just one other thing to note. The door access has actually been made bigger on the XK150, so it's much easier to get in and out of this car. And indeed, if you do have anyone jumping into the back, not that you would because they're very small seats, but access to those seats in the back is much easier as a result. Right, have a seat down, close the door. Interestingly also, they made the doors slightly thinner on the car, so the interior of the cabin feels more spacious and more luxurious. As the driver then, you're greeted by this lovely wood-trimmed motor-liter steering wheel, and the emblem in the middle just says Jaguar Coventry. Now this is actually an automatic, so there's no gear stick here that you might see on other cars. Instead, you've got a gear selection here from park neutral, drive and reverse. And over to the right hand side, the engine actually has override, so you can just flick this to in or out depending on what your requirements of the engine are. The seats and the door cards are finished off very nicely with this red and ivory, and then we've got this lovely ivory leather across the dash as well. And then below your feet you've got this lovely red carpet throughout, which is sort of piped around the edges again with the ivory. Another thing that's interesting on this car is the instrument dials aren't directly in front of you. They're actually sat on the main centre part of the console here. So everything that you'd normally find up in a binnacle here is now in the centre. We've got the rev counter just to the left, slightly larger rev counter, redlining at 6,000 RPM, a little clock below that. And then you've got your amps, your speedometer, and then your oil and water pressures. Below the petrol gauge, we've got our sort of wipers, so we can just sort of click those round into different position when we need them. Interestingly, the thing that Jaguar thought you'd need closest to at the time was your cigarette lighter, just below your steering wheel. We've got wind-up windows in the front, and there's also two little flaps that you can open at the front section of those. And in the rear, we've just got this little lever here which you can pull for some extra ventilation. Got a lovely fly-off handbrake here, so just lift it and let go. No need to press the button, and then it's kind of the reverse on the way back up. Just pop it there, let it go down a little bit, and there we are. To start up then, we don't need to get into manual or anything like that. We're already in park. This is an auto, remember. And then we just turn the key. You can hear the fan going and the fuel pump, and then there's just a push button conveniently next to the cigarette lighter. Give it a little bit of gas, and there you go. Time to get her out on the road. Just its looks alone are enough to seduce you, but on a day like today, it is simply irresistible. Check out the full listing on collecting cars and remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you soon.